Hey there, pirates. Welcome aboard the Anime No Me channel. Finally, Usopp will become a great warrior of the sea. Literally great, a giant, and this will happen in the Elbaf arc. The arc we've been anticipating as the one where Usopp undergoes his greatest growth. In this video, you'll discover how it all unfolds. I hope for your support to help our crew win, and to do so, you just need to click the thumbs up button, leave a like, and subscribe to the channel. By doing this, you will win an incredible devil fruit, so just comment which fruit you want. Imagining Usopp becoming a giant in Elbaf is an idea that blends logical possibilities with the trademark humor of One Piece. From the very beginning of his journey, Usopp has stood out for his creativity, courage, even if not always apparent, and of course, his special connection to Elbaf. In chapter 116, when he hears the stories of Dory and Brogy, it's clear that his admiration for giants isn't just a whim, but something that fuels his dream of becoming a great warrior of the sea. Thus, when thinking about how he could become a giant, I believe the scenario unfolds in ways that are both diverse and entertaining. The introduction of Biblo, the owl librarian of Elbaf, adds a curious layer to the world of One Piece. According to Saul, Biblo is a timeless figure who oversees the owl library, where books under his care are giantified to make them easier for giants to read. This ability is attributed to his possible connection with the Iku no Mi, a devil fruit that allows him to enlarge inanimate objects. Chapters like 818, which show Usopp interacting with technologies and artifacts, only reinforce the idea that he has a natural fascination for things that can be adapted and improved, something that would certainly draw him closer to Biblo and his capabilities. I think Lilith, with her sharp logic, raises an interesting point when she suggests that if there's a fruit that enlarges inanimate objects, there might also be one that applies the same principle to living beings. This leads to the hypothesis that Usopp might consume a devil fruit capable of transforming him into a giant. Considering the nature of One Piece, where abilities often reflect the personality of their users, this fruit could function temporarily or even be activated by Usopp's emotional state, further emphasizing his character arc. Something similar is seen in chapter 788, where Usopp demonstrates a sense of duty and courage that helps him surpass his limits. Another plausible possibility is that Usopp could become a giant momentarily thanks to an ally with such an ability. In Elbaf, it's likely that Luffy's crew will meet new allies with unique powers. Perhaps a giant or an island resident has consumed a fruit that allows them to temporarily enlarge other living beings. This collaboration could be a way for Usopp to prove himself worthy in the eyes of the giants, temporarily living as one of them and showing that even in a gigantic body, he still carries his essence and creativity. In chapter 865, we see how Usopp can use the environment and its resources creatively to turn the tide in his favor. I imagine that as a giant, he could adapt his sniper skills, creating weapons and ammunition proportional to his new size. Perhaps he would build a massive slingshot, or even use Elbaf's environment, like colossal trees and rocks, to fight enemies in spectacular ways. Additionally, this experience could strengthen the bonds between Usopp and the giants, making him an even more respected figure in Elbaf. I think it's also important to consider how this transformation would affect Usopp's character development. Since chapter 758, when he saved the Tontatas and inspired courage in others, it's been clear that his growth lies not just in his physical strength, but also in his confidence and leadership. Becoming a giant, even temporarily, would symbolically represent him overcoming his insecurities and finally seeing himself as the great warrior he's always dreamed of being. Perhaps he would realize that it's not his size that defines his strength, but his determination and creativity. Another point to consider is how this transformation would affect the crew's dynamics. In chapter 1015, we see how Usopp's crewmates trust him, even when he doubts his own abilities. As a giant, Usopp could become a temporary protector, using his size to shield his friends in critical situations. This would not only boost his confidence, but also show the other crew members that he's capable of much more than meets the eye. In chapter 866, when we are introduced to Elbaf's culture through Big Mom's flashback, we learn about the valorization of warriors and the veneration of divine entities that guide their paths. In this context, there might be some kind of divine blessing or specific ritual that allows someone to temporarily take on the size of a giant. I think this could be offered to Usopp as a symbol of full acceptance by the people of Elbaf. Imagine that during a crucial battle, Usopp is chosen to receive this blessing, perhaps even through Hadruden, who believes in the sniper's potential. Another possibility to consider is the use of hybrid technology created by Franky and Vegapunk. Franky, being the genius he is, has already built absurdly creative inventions, like the General Franky, which essentially turns him into a giant robot. Now, with access to Vegapunk's brilliant mind, it's plausible they could develop something even more impressive, perhaps a suit or device that could alter Usopp's body structure, making him grow to gigantic proportions for a limited time. In chapter 1070, we see that Vegapunk managed to replicate some devil fruit abilities scientifically. So who's to say he couldn't create something inspired by the power of Biblo's fruit? Another point worth exploring is the idea that Usopp could achieve gigantification in a more symbolic than literal sense. In Elbaf, being a giant is not just about physical size, but also about spirit and courage. Perhaps Usopp undergoes such a powerful emotional transformation that the people of Elbaf see him as a giant, even without any physical change. This fits perfectly with the recurring theme in One Piece, where willpower and determination can overcome any obstacle. In Chapter 751, for instance, we see how Usopp inspires a crowd of Tontatas to fight against Doflamingo's oppression, proving that he already has what it takes to be a giant at heart. Moreover, it's interesting to think that the fruit that enables gigantification might not be immediately available to Usopp, but rather to an unexpected ally who helps him temporarily achieve that state. For instance, a new ally in Elbaf might possess a devil fruit capable of transforming others into giants through touch. This interaction could lead to comedic and emotional moments where Usopp, reluctant as always, ends up being forced to take on this form to protect his friends or impress the people of Elbaf. Another idea to enrich the theory is the existence of a legendary artifact kept in Elbaf that grants gigantification. Perhaps this object is tied to the history of the land of giants and is considered sacred, but its activation requires a price or a test of courage. I think this would fit well with Usopp's arc, as he constantly faces his fears and overcomes his limitations. It would be a perfect moment for him to prove that he is worthy of being called the giant among men. Let's not forget that Elbaf is a place that values storytelling and storytellers. Usopp, being a great liar and storyteller, could win over the hearts of the giants by telling a tale so incredible that they decide to return the favor by helping him achieve gigantification in some way. Perhaps his connection with the giants deepens to the point where they accept him as one of their own, without the need for permanent physical changes. This type of development aligns perfectly with Usopp's theme, where he grows emotionally and spiritually rather than just physically. Finally, there's the possibility that Usopp, by becoming a giant, not only proves his worth in Elbaf, but also directly influences the final battle of the series. Imagine a moment where he uses his new ability to protect the Sunny or his friends from a gigantic threat, perhaps even Kaido or some other powerful enemy. I think this would be the perfect climax for Usopp's arc, showing that he has finally become the brave warrior he always dreamed of being. But what do you think about this? Will Usopp finally become a giant? Share your thoughts. That was today's content. We hope you liked it and want to share your opinion on the subject. Don't forget to share the video, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care and stay amazing.